Chapter 1. The letter from Targal. Kayla Fallon sat on the roof of an abandoned terminal, watching the sunset slide across the glass-streaked ruins of Targal. The wind chased dust over the metal plates where freighters and smuggler flyers had once docked. Below, the city flickered and faded, like the planet itself, long since written off and forgotten at the edge of the Confederation. The signal came without warning. A crackling voice broke through the static of her old communicator. Kayla, it's Aaron. If you hear this, they got me. Javis. The mining camps. Concordian Patrol. I'm sorry. They said if there's a ransom, static drowned out the rest. Don't come. Just live. Kayla pressed her lips shut, refusing to flinch. She listened to the message 3 times before standing in silence. The small, battered transmission capsule bore the unmistakable mark of the Concordian Guard, an offer of mercy wrapped in blackmail. She knew Javis rates: carbon, blood, lives. A slave in the mines didn't last more than 3 months. Sometimes not even weeks. She had 2 choices: forget or find the money. And to find the money meant finding the Leviathan. The cursed Leviathan, a legend among the galaxy's outlaws. The last ship of the infamous pirate Larek vanished a century ago in the doomed Omega 7 sector. Some claimed it became part of a living asteroid. Others said it was swallowed by a black star. But one thing was certain: the bounty for its coordinates still hung on the shadow markets, enough to buy a planet. Or buy back a brother. She pulled out an old, time-eaten holodisk and activated the map. Omega 7 flared like a scar across the galaxy's skin. A closed sector, officially uninhabited. Unofficially, no one who entered ever returned. Kayla smiled grimly. Fear had been a familiar companion for too long. It no longer held power over her. If the Leviathan is there, I'll find it. Or I'll burn with it. That night, she returned to the old starport. Her ship, Griever, waited in a concealed hangar beneath a rusting dome. Outdated, stained, but reliable. Kayla tapped the hull like greeting an old friend. One last run, buddy. Just one. Then silence. She needed a crew. Not professionals. They'd never take the job. She needed people with nothing left to lose. The first to answer was Rhys Thorne, a navigator with mutated vision, able to read gravitational fields like a book. Then came Silas Jenk, a former medic with butcher's hands, and Talia Rain, a hacker who'd once cracked the bank on Maris. 9 while high on synth-psychs. All 3 were fugitives. All 3 had heard of the Leviathan. You're serious? Talia asked after Kayla laid out the plan. Omega 7 isn't a sector. It's a grave depth. I know, Kayla said coldly. But somewhere out there is a ship. And on that ship, everything I need. She didn't mention her brother. Everyone on board had someone, or something, they'd lost or something they still wanted to destroy. 3 days later, Griever launched into the void. Behind them, a dead world, and the fading light of Targal. Ahead, Omega 7, a place where no beacons burned, where stars dimmed, and where old legends stirred from sleep. The ship was silent. Kayla watched the viewport, where light had already begun to fade, replaced by trembling outlines of interstellar shadow. That I'm coming for you, Aaron. Even if I have to sell my soul. To do it. Chapter 2. The Dead Star Sector. Omega 7 greeted them with silence. Not the usual kind, the technical quiet of space, muffled by the hum of ship systems. This was something else. Thick, clinging. As if the void in this sector breathed differently. With an animal's wary rhythm, spatial noise is near zero, murmured Rhys, squinting at his instruments. Magnetic fields are spiking, but it's not a storm. It's structural. Instability. Like gravity's got its own rules here. Kayla stared silently at the holographic map. Ahead of them floated a star, or what had once been one, now only a dim, pulsing silhouette remained. It didn't shine. It trembled. Dead, said Silas. Core's been completely burned out. Strange it's still holding mass. It should have collapsed. Maybe it's trying to, muttered Talia. Or maybe something's not letting it. With every hour, the journey felt less natural. Space twisted subtly. The Griever's windows began reflecting glints that no sensor could register. Shadows flickered at the edge of their vision, vanishing as quickly as they came. Kayla's head ached constantly. This place, it's watching us, Rias whispered one night while the others slept. He sat in the engineering bay, wrapped in a thermal cloak, staring at a monitor where stardust drifted like snowfall. It doesn't want us here, but it won't make us leave either. It's waiting. Kayla said nothing. She had started dreaming that a pulsing sphere of darkness, a voice calling from inside, hands reaching through the bulkheads that on the third day, they caught a signal. It's an old beacon, reported Talia, decoding the stream onto the screen. Pirate frequency, lyric era. Too ancient for auto-broadcast, but it's still running. It keeps repeating one phrase. She paused, listening. He comes with the sunset. What? Kayla frowned. That's what it says. Over and over. And it's encrypted. Pirate cipher. Just like in the stories. Where is it? Talia zoomed the map. Coordinates lead to an asteroid belt near the star's cord. Closer means more dangerous, Silas warned. Radiation's unstable. Our shields won't last. Long. We don't have a choice, Kayla replied. We didn't come here for safety. The Griever plotted a course and dove into the debris field. All around them floated the remains of ships, civilian and military alike, their hulls marred with strange scorch marks. Not fire damage. Something else, as if the metal had melted from sound. Dozens of ships, torn like paper toys, and the wreckage was fresh, not ancient. Something happened here, Rias said quietly. Recently. Something big. That's when they saw it. Through the thick dust and drifting satellites, a shape emerged, massive. Not just a ship, a monument. The cursed Leviathan drifted in the dark, as if it refused gravity's grip. Its hull was intact, but fused into the asteroid, as though the rock had grown around it. That's not a ship, Silas breathed. That's a temple. The vessel's surface was etched with spiral glyphs, faint beneath centuries of soot and dust. Where the aft engine should have been, a tower rose, not constructed, but carved, as if from living stone. From its tip, a faint light flickered. Kayla felt something seize inside her. For a moment, it felt like the ship was looking back to kill the engines. Approach slowly, she ordered. We need an entry point. The beacon was embedded in the outer hull. The airlock, somehow still active. Talia cracked it in under 30 seconds, but her face had gone pale, damp with sweat. It wasn't just a code. It was a puzzle. Like, it knew someone would come, and it wanted us in. He knew? Rias asked. I don't know. But he's still here. The hatch opened. Only darkness lay beyond. Gear up. 3 go in. The rest stay here. If we're not back in 2 hours. Leave, Kayla commanded. You don't seriously think we'd leave you? Silas smirked. I do. And I want you to. They entered the Leviathan. Inside, there was utter silence. The walls pulsed with a strange light, as if liquid energy flowed through them. The air, yes, air, was cold, but breathable. Why is there an atmosphere? Silas wondered aloud. The ship's dead. It shouldn't be maintaining anything. It's not dead, said Rias. Talia froze. I picked up movement. Something passed behind the bulkhead. Fast. Machinery? No. Chemical trace. It's biological. Kayla looked ahead. The corridor. Dissolved into darkness, on the floor lay an old, abandoned hat. A pirate's. Blood stained its brim. Chapter 3. Leviathan. The third compartment began with a gravity glitch. As soon as they stepped through the airlock, the floor beneath their feet seemed to tilt, not physically, but perceptually. At first, they thought someone had gotten dizzy, but the inertial stabilizers showed normal readings. It was just gravity, felt wrong, as if the space inside the Leviathan obeyed a different vector altogether. Someone's restructured the internal geometry, Rias whispered, peering into the scanner projection. Or, he paused, it restructured itself. The lighting was dead. Only their headlamps and the flickering beams of handheld torches pierced the viscous gloom. The light fell on bulkheads coated in strange growths, not organic, yet not entirely mechanical either. The metal looked melted and then healed. In some places, the walls pulsed gently, as if breathing. "I don't like this," muttered Silas. "Everything here feels too alive. Like we're in the belly of a beast, not aboard a ship." They found the first sealed door, shut manually. Laser welding, rivets, makeshift plugs. Kayla knocked with her knuckles, hollow. They opened it. Inside was an old-style cabin. Bunks, a locker, a terminal. On the floor lay a body. Long dead. Desiccated, shriveled. A mask of terror frozen on its face. No signs of a struggle. Rhea said, examining the skeleton. He died of fear, or from something the mind couldn't withstand. Talia accessed the terminal. Somehow, it still had power. The logbook opened. The captain went down to the heart. He's speaking to it. We don't know what he hears, but he's changing. He talks about a great awakening, about us becoming the first. We're afraid. We beg to leave. He locked the exit. We no longer go to the bridge. We don't know if it's day or night. We hear voices. Inside. In our sleep. Sometimes while awake. The next entry was the last. They're knocking. On. The walls. Don't want to. Don't want to. He's coming. He's coming. Kayla quietly closed the terminal. For a moment, it seemed the light in the room dimmed. They moved on. One deck housed a massive hull, like a shuttle bay. Small crafts should have been stationed there, but all were either charred or gone. What remained was the emblem on the wall, an Ouroboros serpent encircling a black sun. The mark of Larex. Pirate dynasty. This is definitely the cursed Leviathan, Talia confirmed. But there's a problem. We thought it vanished 100 years ago. And here, she traced claw marks along a bulkhead. No more than 10. Maybe less. Like time flows differently inside. Then Silas vanished that he had been walking last. Kayla turned at a sound, only to see his flashlight rolling across the floor. Static crackled on the comms. No response. Silas? Come in. Panic crept into Talia's voice. Silence. They ran through the compartments, calling his name, scanning with thermal imagers. Nothing. No trace. Just empty corridors. Walls that pulsed a little faster now. And a strange scent. Faint, sweet. Like ozone after a storm. Kayla stopped on the wall beside them. A message had appeared. Written by a human hand in smeared paint. Or something else. You will hear it too. It is calling you. That's not his handwriting, Talia whispered. That's not Silas. That's someone else. A dull sound echoed from the depths of the corridor. Like footsteps. Then, singing. Faint, like a children's choir. Wordless, only melody. It crawled under their skin. Kayla frantically activated the beacon, trying to call the remaining crew. On the griever. But the reply didn't come from them. Kayla, her name. From the speaker. The voice was hoarse, but familiar. Her brother. Aaron. That's impossible. She whispered. Kayla, can you hear me? I'm here. It showed me. I see everything. Everything is different. Come to me. To the heart. Talia stared in horror at the signal. Kayla, this isn't a transmission. It's not a radio wave. It's a neural impulse. Direct stimulation. You mean it's speaking straight into our minds? It is, or something is. Kayla closed her eyes. For a moment, black serenity washed over her, as if someone inside her had turned a page, and the story written by her life had changed. In this new story, there was the ship, her brother, Pain. The call. We're going to the heart, she said. Talia stared at her in disbelief. You want to go there? We have no choice. Footsteps echoed again in the corridor, but now, they were coming from behind them. Chapter 4. Echoes. Of the past. Kayla led the way. The lamp on her helmet carved out alien shapes from the darkness. Pipes twisted into spirals, panels sprouting organic-like growths. It was as if the very hull of the Leviathan had long since ceased to be a machine and become something else, something symbiotic, a living vessel for a mind. Careful, Talia whispered. Something's sliding. There was a crunch underfoot. Kayla aimed her light downward. Fragments of an old model spacesuit lay scattered on the floor, vintage, from Larek's era. Inside, nothing. No blood. No body. Just an empty shell, as if its contents had been burned away from within. They reached the central bridge. This was where the main data core should be. Against all odds, it was still functioning. Panels flickered. Faint holographic interfaces pulsed like ghostly silhouettes. Rias got to work on the archive, while Kayla ascended the steps to the captain's chair. A name was engraved into the backrest. Larek Sorn. You think he's still here? Talia asked, weapon raised. Kayla silently stared at the dusty console where an old, cracked neural link lay. She placed it over her head, and the world flared. She stood on the same bridge, but a century in the past. Larek's crew was alive. Pirates clad in armor bearing the serpent insignia laughed, argued, smoked. And their captain, a tall man with a clean-shaven scalp and eyes like frozen steel, stood before a projection of the Omega-7 sector. "We've found it," he said, voice burning with mad exhilaration. "An artifact of the ancients. We thought they were gone. They're not. They sleep, yes. But that's a lie. They are watching." One of the officers tried to protest. "Captain, there's something wrong with the artifact. It affects people. Engineer Garo killed himself. The navigator says she hears a star singing. It's dangerous." "Danger," Larek smiled, "is the path. We will be the first to receive the gift." The hologram wavered. Larek's body began to change. Dark veins spread along his neck, as if something inside was reaching outward. He slowly turned toward Kayla, though she shouldn't have been visible in the vision, and whispered, "You hear it, don't you?" The projection snapped into silence. Kayla ripped off the link and staggered backward, gasping for air. Her heart pounded like a drum. "What did you see?" Rias asked. "Larek, he found something. Not physical, not exactly. A mind. Ancient. He let it aboard willingly. The rest began to change. We found audio logs," Talia added, "from the ship's pilot. Want to hear them?" She played the first. "They are not asleep. They hear us. When we entered the sector, we ceased to be alone. The ship listens. It echoes our thoughts. The captain speaks to it. He calls it the one who flees the dying sun." The next recording was fainter, like a voice submerged in water. "We tried to escape. The airlocks won't open. Some have started praying, but not to gods. To the ship. They call it the mother. One of us said Larek is no longer human. He's the voice. The vessel." Kayla felt the chill creep beneath her skin. "It's not a ship," Rias said. "It's a host. Something invaded it, made it its home. And now it's using the Leviathan to reach out. And not just to speak," Talia added. "We scanned the central corridors. Something's moving down there. The heat signature is unstable. The shape's shifting, like Walking Dead." Kayla stepped up to the control panel and activated the route projection. The Leviathan's final course wasn't toward treasure or sanctuary. It was heading deeper into the sector, toward the heart of the dying Omega-7 star, toward the source of the signal. "He was searching for awakening," Kayla whispered, "and found something worse." Then a voice came through the comms. Hollow, quiet, emotionless, and all the more terrifying for it. "Kayla, he knows you. He waits for you. The heart is open. It's him," she whispered. "The one who flees the dying sun." And somewhere deep below the decks, the children's voices began to sing again, and the Leviathan began to stir. Chapter 5. The Eye in the Abyss. The corridors led downward, ever deeper, past the machine decks, beyond the docking bays, into a place where even the ship's schematics began to twist. The outlines grew non-Euclidean, as if the very geometry of space danced to a foreign rhythm. The walls quivered with a faint pulse, like a heart, beating somewhere in the depths. "We're nearing the center," Rias whispered, "where the signal distortion peaks." "The control core?" Talia asked. "No. Deeper. This isn't a machine. It's a nest." They reached an airlock, coated with a thin layer of black gel, as if the ship's very skin was weeping it. Kayla touched the panel, and the door opened on its own. Silent. Beyond it stretched a chamber that should not have existed. But it did. A dome, vast, ancient, carved as if from the heart of an asteroid. And in the center, a sphere, suspended above a pedestal, black as if it consumed light itself. It reflected only shadows. About the size of a human head, it pulsed, not with light, but with something else. Thoughts, echoes of something alien. The heart of the Leviathan, Kayla breathed. Her footsteps echoed beneath the dome. The others lingered at the threshold. Rias reached for his weapon, but Kayla raised a hand. No, it's waiting for me. She stepped closer. The sphere held no reflection, no trace of her face, no beam from the flashlight. Only endless blackness, and then it spoke. You have come, daughter of Ash. The voice didn't reach her ears. It scraped across her mind, like claws on glass. Cold, yet not hostile. It watched. You carry the void. The one that calls. That hungers. What are you? Kayla whispered. I am the one who flees the dusk. I was born in stars that died before you learned to count. I am the remnant. The eye. The word. The seed. You killed Larrick's crew? They chose. Their minds thirsted. I gave them meaning. There is no death without will. Why me? Because you are alone. Because your pain calls. The void is already within you, Kayla. In your dreams, I am there. The sphere flared. Kayla saw a vision of burning Jovies. The mines where her brother Aaron tore his hands on stone. His face etched with despair. And in the same breath, another image, a fleet sailing under a black banner. At its head, Kayla Fallon, the new captain of the Leviathan. Behind her, shadows of the past, and the fire of rebellion. I can give you the path. Liberation. You will break the chains. The Confederation will fall. But you must become part of me. A vessel. A voice. Kayla recoiled. The sphere vibrated, and across its surface flickered. Faces, the dead, distorted, still whispering in silence. You are afraid. But you already know. The end is not in death. The end is in powerlessness. Behind her, Rias shouted. Kayla, movement. Something's coming. Figures emerged from the walls. Humans, or what remained of them. The pirate crew of old, now reanimated husks. Their eyes hollow, their bodies fused with metal and flesh. They moved in silence, slowly, with reverence, like temple acolytes. We have to go. Talia yelled, raising her weapon, but Kayla didn't move. She stared at the sphere and understood. This wasn't a threat. It was an offer. Accept me, and you will see, not only how to save your brother, but how to rewrite fate. You are no guest. You are the heir. And in that instant, Kayla heard crying that a child's voice echoed from the heart of the ship. Aaron, her brother. She heard him as clearly as if he stood beside her. Kayla, is that you? Please, she screamed, and everything went dark. When she came to, the sphere was gone. Rias and Talia held her upright. Behind them, the corridors trembled. The ship was awakening. From its depths rose ancient, twisted forms. Eyes ignited in the dark. Everywhere, the same whisper echoed. Serve. Or die. Kayla stood. A cold fire shimmered in her eyes. We're not alone. And we have to choose, she said. Either we leave, or we stay and become something else. Behind her, the darkness flared once more. The sphere, trembling now, watched her like a pupil. The Leviathan was waiting for its captain. Chapter 6. Rebellion. The ship no longer slept. It breathed. Every section, every hatch, every panel seemed to vibrate with inner tension, as if Leviathan were fighting itself, or rather, fighting those who were now strangers in its depths. We need to get out of here, Rias said, eyes locked on the monitor. Trackers inside the ship are showing movement. And it's not us. What about the engines? Kayla tore her gaze away from the map. They're no longer under our control. It's reconfiguring, reshaping its insides, like a living organism, or like a tomb, Talia added hoarsely. They had gathered in the central command node. The atmosphere was thick with tension. Out of 15 crew members, only 9 remained. 2 had vanished, 3 had crossed over. Pack had returned to them with a twitching smile and glassy eyes. "You don't understand," he said. "This isn't danger. This is truth. We were nothing. Now we're part of something greater." Leviathan shows the way. It calls. "You always had a soft spot for cults, Pack," Talia said coldly, raising her weapon. "But this one won't buy you salvation. No, this is our chance to be free. All those years, we ran, we hid, we stole. Now, we can stop being afraid." Pack didn't resist when they disarmed him. He only smiled. But others came after him. That night, the ship split, not physically, but by will that a fracture ran through the crew. Those who had seen the sphere, who had heard the voice, some of them felt the calling. They needed no order from Kayla. They no longer served her. They served it, rebellion ignited in silence. No shouting, no warnings. Someone simply raised a weapon and fired. Security footage showed one of the technicians locking his teammates in an airlock and opening it to the void. Leviathan didn't interfere. On the contrary, it guided. Lights began to die out. Oxygen flow was cut in disloyal sectors. But where the chosen gathered, systems remained intact. The ship was making its choice. "It's launching a revolt from within," Kayla said, watching the monitors. "It's rewriting our hierarchy, installing its own crew." "And what are we?" Talia asked. "Bacteria the organisms trying to purge? Or the immune system that could rewrite the body?" Kayla stood before the main console. The sphere she had seen in the chamber now appeared everywhere, on screens, in holograms, even along the inner surfaces of the ship. It no longer needed a physical form. It was already here. The voice returned. "They do not understand. But you see, you know it's all a lie. The Confederation, the laws, the order. All of it, chains. I offer the key. You offer slavery. Under a new banner." Kayla whispered, "No. I offer freedom. Become captain, and no one will ever harm you. Or your brother." She saw Aaron again. His worn face, bloodied hands, his silent plea. But she saw something else too. Her crew. Rias. Talia. The ones still holding on. The ones who hadn't surrendered. An explosion tore through the engineering deck. One of the surviving engineers had tried to destroy the central power source, but was caught. Assimilated. Later, Kayla would see him wandering the corridors. Eyes sewn shut, but walking with certainty. He knew the way. Bodies of the old pirate crew emerged from the walls. Undead, yet filled with memory. They didn't attack, unless you resisted. But if you faltered, Kayla gathered what remained of her. Loyal team in the command hub. 7 of them. They heard the sounds of struggle behind bulkheads. Heard the whispers calling each of them by name. "We have 2 paths," she said. "We shut down the artifact, and most likely die with the ship. Or," she looked at the map, the heart of the ship, where she had met the mind, had reopened. "Or I accept the offer. Become the captain. Then maybe we get a chance to rewrite the rules." "And are you sure you can stay yourself?" Rias asked. She didn't answer. In the depths of Leviathan, the black sun opened its eye dot on its surface. Stars pulsed, ones no one had ever seen. Beyond its event horizon lay the future. New lights flickered to life in the corridors. They pointed the way to the throne room. Kayla knew there was no more avoiding the choice. Ahead lay the endgame. Chapter 7. The choice. Leviathan was guiding her. The corridors parted on their own, like the tissues of a living organism, revealing the path to where it all began. With each step, Kayla felt her thoughts drawn into a vortex. The artifact whispered, not in words now, but in images, emotions, longing. It showed her who she could become, her brother's savior. A captain, the herald of a new era. Talia and Rias followed behind, but did not interfere. They knew the choice had to be Kayla's alone. In the center of the chamber, the black sphere shimmered once more. Now it didn't just pulse, it sang. Within its depths, galaxies shimmered, battles ignited, empires crumbled. A new star map was being born in that darkness. It is time, Kayla Fallon, the voice spoke. Your lineage has always been tied to Leviathan, not by blood, but by choice. Your will is the final key. The sphere opened. A throne emerged, fluid, like liquid metal, surrounded by holographic control nodes. And behind it, visions, Aaron. Shackled, half dead. His prison, the voice. One command, and he's free. One breath, and you become the one to topple the Confederation. They fear you, because you are one of those who never kneel. Kayla clenched her fists. A storm tore inside her. She remembered smuggling runs. Her ship burning in Tauron 5 stratosphere. The first time she killed. For food, freedom had always come with a price. But this wasn't just a price. This was her very self. Kayla, Talia whispered. If you take its offer, you won't be you anymore. And if I refuse, he'll take Aaron. Then we find another way. We're still human, as long as you're with us. Kayla's eyes lingered on Talia's face. Then, on the throne, on the chains that had become invisible, on the power that could give everything and take it all away. One last choice, the voice said. Become the voice of the storm, or vanish. She stepped toward the throne. Her hand trembled, not from fear, but from clarity. What if I say no? She asked. Then you die here. But free. Silence. The sphere beat like a heart. Kayla placed her palm on the panel. For a split second, everything flashed through her mind at once. She, pirate queen. Armies flying her banner. Aaron, liberated. The Confederation, falling, but along with it, fire, chaos, blood, shadows creeping behind her. Her voice, not her own. Her choice, already someone else's. And then she pulled her hand back. I'm sorry, brother, she whispered. I can't lose myself to save you. In her other hand, she already held the data key, the emergency reboot protocol, secretly copied from Larek's logs. The final chance. The final dagger. Kayla, Rhea shouted. Everything's changing. The sphere roared. The ship shuddered. Systems collapsed. Leviathan had sensed the refusal. You have chosen death. The voice thundered. I chose not you, she said. Kayla activated the reboot. The sphere flared. A black wave swept through the chamber like a collapsing ocean. Time slowed. Faces vanished like smoke. The throne burst into 1,000 bolts of lightning. And then, silence. Kayla awoke in an escape capsule. Talia was beside her. Rias, at the console. It worked, he said. Leviathan is dead. The ship drifted, faint light gleaming off its shattered hull. What remained of it? The distress signal had already been picked up by the nearest patrol, but Kayla wasn't afraid. This time, truth was on their side. Later, when they returned to the station, she learned that Aaron had been released in one knew why. The order simply vanished. The guards were replaced. The records erased. Kayla understood. The entity wasn't dead. IT had simply left, waiting for the next choice, the next host. But for now, the stars were silent. And in orbit over Omega 7, a black stain still flickered, like a wound that would never heal. Chapter 8. The black sun. The sphere was silent. Bodies lay all around it. Talia, on her knees, her eyes hollow. Rias, dead, his chest pierced by an energy spike. The others, Kayla, didn't count. They had made their choice. So had she. Become the center. Become the axis. Let the world revolve around your will. The voice echoed in her mind. The time has come. She stood. Slowly, confidently, she stepped toward the throne. This time, no hesitation. Her hand touched the panel. The sphere ignited, as if it had devoured a star. Currents of energy surged through her body. But there was no pain, only clarity. She could feel every detail of the ship, every drop of fear, every living spark. You are Leviathan. You are the flame of transition. Holograms flared before her eyes. Planets, orbital shipyards, symbols of the Confederation, and alongside them, pirate outposts, forgotten systems, scattered, rebel cells. All converged into a single map. The old pirate insignia flickered. then shattered. In its place rose a new emblem, a black sun with 5 jagged rays. Assume command. Activate protocol uprising. Objective: neutralize the Confederation. Confirm drone foundry activation. Link hidden relays in the outer ring. Open comms. All frequencies. Her face appeared on millions of devices across the galaxy. My name is Kayla Fallon, and I bring you the truth. Your rulers are liars. Your laws, chains, they keep you afraid, obedient, caged. But that ends now. Leviathan has returned. We will raise up the forgotten. We will shatter the throne of those who call themselves gods. I am not your savior. I am your storm. The signal cut. Red lights flared through the corridors of the ship. Leviathan was awake. 3 days later, the first strike. The Confederation flag was burned in orbit over Epsilon. 5. A week after, Jovi's system ignited in flame. The miners freed. The executioners hanged. Kayla's name became a whisper of revolution, and in her eyes, cold, unwavering, reflected only one thing: the black sun, now forever suspended above her fleet. Somewhere, on a distant frontier, in the ruins of a broken beacon, a boy sat staring at the sky. There, among the stars, something moved, greater than a fleet. It carried light and darkness. Dad, who is she? The boy asked. She used to be a person, the father replied. But now she's, he trailed off. Words failed him. She became the black sun, the boy whispered.